Hey guys, and welcome back to Betwixt the Books. It's Michaela here, and I have been struggling to make videos. My brain has not wanted to do it. Last week, I was going to make this exact video, and my brain decided, no, we're going to do laundry instead. Which, if you know anything about me, you know that when my brain decides laundry is a safer task than doing the thing, it's about the lowest on the tier of things my body ever wants to do. So we're trying. We're trying. We're gonna do just a city chatty video, so I can take some of the pressure off and just talk to you guys. Which is still difficult, but we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. And today I'm here to talk about a thing that I've noticed recently happening in the bookish community, in particular in places like TikTok and Bookstagram, where there's this thing where I'm seeing a lot of people do what they're calling the Wheel of Shame, or this TBR Wheel of Shame. I've popped a couple of folks up on the screen here that you can look at who have done several videos in a series doing this. This is not a new concept. I mean, the Wheel of Shame is like really popular right now, but this like TBR guilt is not a new concept. There's a lot of read it or unhaul it videos. I've seen a lot of people do like book board games to do TBRs or TBR jars where they're pulling things out of a TBR jar to like read from their physical TBR. But always there seems to be this level of like, I feel guilty for not reading the books I have on my shelf. Now, you can see behind me, this is just a fraction of my books. I have a lot of books. There's more off camera. There's more in other rooms. I have a lot of books. And most of them, I'm going to say, are unread. Not all of them, by any means. I read a fair amount of these, but definitely not all of them. They're not all read books. And I've spoken about it I used to work at Barnes & Noble. You get a discount as a Barnes & Noble worker. So I was picking up a lot more books than I was reading, just because it was cheaper to get it then than it is now. But I don't necessarily feel the guilt when it comes to not having read them. So one of those things, I think, for me, is that I grew up in a household where most of the books in the house were unread. My mom, in particular, gives away or donates the books when she finishes reading them. So most of the books on the shelves in my home were unread books for her. That was her TBR. It was the physical books that she had. So she was bringing in books to have as options to like shop her shelves to read when she wanted to read a new book. It was never one of those things where it was like, oh no, I have too many new books and I haven't read. Those are where she goes to pick a book when she's ready to pick a new book. And then when she reads something, she finds someone who she thinks would enjoy it and gives it to them, or donates them to the library or used bookstores, so on and so forth. So I always grew up in a home with a lot of unread books. Now, I don't often give away the books when I've finished reading them. I'm a person who wants to have a home library. I'm probably going to be the little old lady who has like shelves and shelves that are 2 and 3 stacks deep when I'm old, because I've run out of physical space in the house to have more shelves, but every single room is going to have multiple bookshelves that are all filled with books. That's probably just who I'm going to be. My apologies to my partner Isaac for having to live with that, but honestly, there are worse addictions than reading, I feel like. So there is that. That's just going to be the way that it is for me. I enjoy having them around. They make me feel at home and at peace. I enjoy them as decor. It just makes me feel at home. My office is my favorite room in the house, and it's because I have this many books around me. I never feel like I'm alone when I have books. I always have an option. I have something I can do. I have something I can read. So it's helpful for me to have them around. But there's a couple of reasons why I don't feel the guilt on top of that, I think. While some people might say it's rampant consumerism, you're just buying books to buy books to have books, I like to support the authors that I'm here to support, and I'm buying books primarily from queer, people of color, people in translation. Like, I do my best to make sure that the books that I'm picking up are not just books that I'm interested in, but also books that I'm supporting authors. Now, obviously not every single book I will read from a straight cis white guy. I do it, it happens, but the vast majority of the books that I pick up that I am buying are from women, people of color, queer people, so on and so forth. And I want to spend my money to tell publishers, and publishing is an industry, that I want more books like this. And the way you do that is by buying them. I'm in a place of privilege that I am able to buy books. I, at the moment, am not buying as many books as I used to, for sure, not nearly as many, because I don't have as much disposable income as I did when I was working at Barnes & Noble. And again, the cost of my books went up 100% because I had a 50% discount, so it has doubled. But that doesn't mean that I still don't want to do those things. I still don't want to support authors. Now, I do think that there are folks who acquire books in a way that they don't intend on reading them. Every single book that I have picked up, I intend on reading. I'm not just buying a book because I see that it's by someone who is a person of color or who is queer and then just putting it on my shelf just to have it. I do intend to read it. It just doesn't always happen right away. But there are folks who are acquiring books that they may not intend to read, and I could understand feeling overwhelmed with those. So there's a lot of things nowadays, like these book subscription boxes and book club boxes and things like that, where you are sent a book every single month. You have to choose one, but you may not be interested in any of the books that month. But if you don't pick a book, then you aren't part of the book club anymore. And some of those have wait lists where you can't get back in right away. Some of them are special editions where you are like sort of conditioned to want to collect them and have them even if you don't intend on reading them. And I could understand feeling like half of your shelves are filled with books that you don't want to read and aren't interested in. That could be a problem, and I could totally understand in that case going, do I want to read this or do I want to unhaul it? But as a mood reader, I can't just say I have to read this one book or I have to get rid of it because it just might not be the right time for me to read that book. If I still want to read it, but it's a book that I feel like I would enjoy more in summer than in winter, and I pull it out of a TBR jar and I have to read it in winter and then I'm not going to like it, like, it doesn't make sense to me to force myself to read something that isn't ready in the moment. The other thing too being that Gretchen and I have talked a lot about how, especially doing booktube, there is this pressure to read newer books, or there used to be. I think for me, the thing that I've learned from TikTok and the way that TikTok fully does not care about what the newest thing is, they will talk about a book that's 10, 20, 30 years old and still make that popular, bring up the backlist and talk about it. Fully support this idea. There used to be this idea that if we weren't making videos about the new book releases, we weren't doing ARC reviews and things like that, then we wouldn't be making a video that was worth watching. And I think that TikTok has changed that we are now saying, okay, wait, no, we can do videos about backlists. People are still interested in reading backlists. We aren't just meant to be on the cutting edge, but for the longest time, a lot of these books kind of moved lower down my priority list because it's like, well, if I read this and I don't make a video about it because I don't think anybody's going to want to hear about it, what's the point? And I think there needs to be a mentality shift there, at least for me. I think I am working on that. I'm starting to do that. If you didn't know, I myself have been doing a little bit of a TBR challenge to help me read some of my books back here, not because I feel guilty about it, but because I, like I said, tend to move them lower down the priority list. So I made it more of a priority this year to read them just because I have wanted to read them and I shouldn't keep shuffling them down for something new just because I make videos. Like, I should just read the books that I want to read, and I've read a lot of really great books from my shelves this year that are older, and I've been glad for that. If you want to see me talk about that TBR challenge, I'm reading my TBR by color, so each month I try to read 3 books from a particular color theme for that month, and I can pick from any of the books on my shelves. That's a fun way for me to do it. I know not everyone else would enjoy that, but it lets me feel less overwhelmed by the sheer choice paralysis of, oh my god, I have so many freaking books, what do I read? As well as, you know, making it a little bit of visually fun, something interesting to do with the way that I'm reading it. So I'm not saying don't use your TBR wheel or don't have your TBR game, but maybe think of a way to tailor it to yourself that helps you. Because again, as a mood reader, being told to read one specific book, it might not be what I want to read this month, this week, whatever, this season, reading it by color means that I can sort of say, oh, okay, I have all of my purple books this month in September. What in there is calling to me right now? And I'll have like 10 to choose from, and I'll see if any of the audiobooks are available at the library, so on and so forth, and read them that way. I personally haven't ever had to put myself on a book buying ban because I don't feel like I should penalize authors that are publishing right now because I haven't read some books on my shelves behind me. I know for some people, they feel like they need to have a manageable number of unread books, and that might be a good way of doing it, needing to read a certain number of the ones they have before you can buy more of them. But I've seen some people say, like, I'm not going to buy any books at all this year. And for me, that's just not going to work. I get it. If for you, you need to not buy anything, and especially if you don't have the income or the resources to support that, not buying things totally makes sense. Use your local library, whatever. Don't feel like you need to fill a background full of books and buy things outside of your means just to be here. I do know that I've heard some people talk about how they went to a thrift store and bought a bunch of books that they weren't even interested in just to have books in the background because they're making bookish videos. I don't think that's required at all. You could sit in front of a white wall, and as long as you're, engaging and talking about the books that you love, that's still engaging. I myself put a lot of people on, put them on 2x speed, and I'm not even looking at the visuals of the video. I'm just listening to them talk while I do other things, sort of like a podcast type style, at least with long form content like this. But everyone is themselves. I understand wanting to have a curated shelf behind you. I've heard some people say they only keep the books that they rate 4 stars or above, and they give away other ones, or they only keep the books that they want to reread. I'm not a rereader, but I do like having a library. Does that mean that I never get rid of books? Of course not. I do get rid of books sometimes. I often will donate them to the library. There's a couple of reasons for that. I didn't enjoy it so much, and I would like someone else to have it perhaps, and I don't want it on my shelves. Or I have been known to buy a second edition of something if I like the cover better, and I will give away the other copy because I don't need to keep multiple copies of books. The only time I've done that where I have multiple copies of books and I've kept both copies is a childhood favorite. I have kept my old beaten up childhood favorite copy and had a nicer, prettier special edition of it as well on the shelves. And that's for the sentimentality of those childhood books. Like my original copies, I kept those for that reason. I don't feel guilty about having these things because I do still intend to read them, even if it is not today, even if it is not tomorrow, even if it's not this year or 10 years from now. They're books, they don't expire. I can pick them up whenever it makes sense for me to pick it up. I hope you feel that way as well. If it's fun for you to try and read down your TBR, have fun. I no point am I ever saying somebody can't do that. I don't want people to feel like, oh, like I should just pick them up on whimsy because Michaela thinks that it's bad to feel guilty. I think it's bad to feel guilty. I don't think that you should feel guilty about having the things that you enjoy or wanting to have them around. Maybe engage with why you have that guilt, but wanting to read them, totally valid. Totally valid. Read them. That's what they're there for. You want to read them. And if you, like me, realize that you're not prioritizing them because of things like BookTube or other external factors, see what you can do to make it fun for you, to make them a priority, to read some more of those TBR books. I guess we should just maybe stop adding the guilt and the shame around not reading them. They don't expire. It's not food. We're not throwing them away at the end of the day because we've missed some unknown timer that's ticking in the back where it's no longer going to be a fun experience for you. But what do you think? Do you think it's okay to feel guilty? I don't think we should feel guilty about it. I don't think we should feel guilty about it, but what do you think? Why do you think it comes in as guilt? Is it the performative nature? Is it the judgment of other people? There is this huge thing right now on the internet of people thinking that there is a right or a wrong way to be bookish on the internet. There are a lot of opinions and very hard black and white thinking as far as I can tell. Do you keep your TBR under a certain amount? Do you not buy books at all and only use the library? I would love to know. Talk to me down below about what you think. I enjoy those Wheel of Shame videos. It's fun for me to see people challenge themselves in different ways. I just enjoy a reading challenge. I'm a person who enjoys that. I have ones that I do myself, so I'm never going to say somebody can't do a reading challenge or shouldn't do a reading challenge. Just maybe think about why you're feeling a certain emotion around your books, because I don't think we should be having a bad time with our books in any capacity. They're there for fun and recreation and entertainment, and um that's good. They should be a good and positive thing. They shouldn't be weighing on you. And when they are weighing on you, maybe it's time to think about why that is, and what we can do to lessen the emotional burden there or remove it entirely if you can. I will hopefully, if my brain lets me, have an arc review for next week. And I'm like this close to putting out one of the videos I've been working on all year. I think I need to read one more book for that challenge. And I've been working on like three little video challenge ideas at the same time because all of my audiobook holds came in at the same time. They all came in and I was overwhelmed and I was reading so many things. So I've read so many things in the last couple of weeks, but they're for a couple different videos. Once I have all of those, I will have so many videos for you guys, hopefully, if I can like just make them. The hardest part for me right now is sitting in front of the camera and talking, and I'm trying to get better at it. Gretchen's gonna say just do it every single week. But sometimes my brain doesn't let me. It yells at me and it says I should be doing laundry instead, and then I go and do laundry. But I've done all the laundry, so there's no more laundry to do. I can only do this. So I'm doing this. I'm here. I'm talking to you. Talking to people will help. Having a response will help. So yes, please say something in the comments down below. I will be back next week, and I hope you guys are having lovely, lovely week, lovely time. And I will see you then. Bye.